Good morning, folks. Here we are, and this morning on the Fife Property Show, we're going to be talking about photography secrets. This is about the top pro styling tips to give your home the edge. If you want to be better than anyone else when you're competitive, because at the end of the day, we're competing, remember, against other properties at similar price points that are on the market at the same point in time. And the buyer chooses one or the other on their preference, and photographs can make a fundamental difference to you. So we're going to talk about this and about staging your show, your home, and making sure. I was almost say staging your show home. Good morning, Andrea. Anyway, how are you?
Good morning. I'm very well, thank you. A lovely sunny day where I am, and it makes all the difference. Great for photographs.
It is. I mean, this is a classic one. Is when somebody says, "As soon as I saw the photo, I knew this was the one." And it's the same now with video, isn't it? As soon as I saw the video, I knew this was the one. I mean, such is the power of photography and of video, actually. And as a potential buyer's first introduction to your home, it can make or break the actual sale. I mean, there's often people that are, I say, cash rich, but they're time poor. They don't have that time to go and look for your property. They don't have that time to go and search the internet all the time. So if you can get in front of them and disrupt them, this is all about disruption, and get their attention. That is the fundamental difference of them actually making a decision to invest a wee bit more time and actually look at your property, or actually just write it off for good and it's next, and they've missed it. So it's vital that you have an estate agent that can disrupt the person right in front of them and actually retarget that person with a video, or possibly with the photographs on the social media platforms, including the actual websites as well. That's a fundamental difference in making the right and wrong. You could miss your buyer potentially. I mean, Andrea, I always say to everybody, it doesn't matter what buyer you get and where you get them from. If you get exactly the same buyer as I get, I'll always get more money out of them. People buy us for our digital marketing and our negotiation skills. That's it. When it comes to it, that's what they'll buy us for. If you want any other service, you can get that for 99 quid off our doorsteps, because effectively that's what everybody else is doing. Given the influence how photographs and video are earning, it's surprising how many property listings are wonky, are blurred, are dark images. Worse than many selfies, isn't it? I mean, in fact, poor photography regularly crops up wherever we meet someone who's having trouble selling. That's quite right, isn't it? I mean, you know, Andrea, it's usually typically when people are trying to sell and they kind of think, oh, my house isn't selling. The first thing you go for is the photographs, isn't it? And have a look at them.
Yeah, we've done that before. I must admit, not very often have we had to do that. Maybe on maybe once a year, maybe we'll revisit photographs. And sometimes it's just a case of changing the main photograph round, the one that shows up first on the portals, and maybe taking another one out, or going out and taking a new photograph of the front when they've decided to tidy up the garden a bit and get the washing off the line.
But this isn't the first time we've heard it from another agent. Somebody on with someone else coming to us and saying, well, my house isn't selling. Now, they're not coming to us directly because their house isn't selling. They're coming to us because they're registering with one of our properties, potentially, that they're going to be buying. However, if they're not in a position to proceed and they don't actually have an offer on their property, it's very unlikely they're ever going to get a chance of actually buying one of our properties, if not anybody else's property. So often we then look at what they've got and actually give them some advice of what they should be doing and what they should be telling their other agent to do in order for them to be able to sell their house. It's not the first time I've sold a house for another agent, actually giving the advice. And a certain colour of an agent springs to mind. I'm not saying anymore. I'm not saying any more about prints.
Now, I've seen some shocking pictures, you know, and you just think, why would I want to buy that when there's obvious failings in the property? What springs to mind for me is the bedroom pictures where you can see right under the bed because they've been taken at such a low level, and they've got all their storage boxes and all their shoes and the trailing cables, and they've got about 10 plugs going into one extension socket because it's obviously insufficient or it's been badly planned.
And some people, it paints a picture, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
I mean, when it comes to showing your home at the absolute best, professional photographs are nothing less than essentials to stand out from the crowd. It's often we tell people we upgrade, but we just do professional photographers from the start. If anybody comes to me and says, I didn't really need a professional photographer, forget it. You're no listening to us, that's it, full stop. Because I know it's going to be an uphill battle all the way because of that, because of what we do and how we do it. It's so systematized and so dedicated to get the result that we're after at the end and get that maximum exposure for that property, more than likely actually get that maximum click through and maximum conversion for a buyer to inquire about the property. That's why we do what we do. The last thing I want is actually an uphill battle with substandard photographs. So, you know, if it's not a professional photographer, we're not the people to speak to.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
really
the professional photographer knows how to get the exposure and everything right on the photographs and the proportions and exactly where to shoot from in any room to get all the angles that are needed.
Yeah.
But we can help them along by getting some of the basics right in the first place before the photographer arrives. So you can clean the windows, polish the surfaces and vacuum the floors, clear away any paperwork and clutter. The last thing a photographer needs is to come in and have to start moving stuff. It just adds on to their day. Look for stray cables and lamps, appliances and gadgets, and hide them away. Open the blinds and curtains evenly in each room. And that's quite an important one, because for your external photographs, you don't want wonky blinds.
It's a huge one, isn't it? It's amazing how many times. I mean, the classic example is when you go into a room and the sun's fine and it does stream in the window, but if the curtains are closed a wee bit and the sun disappears behind a cloud for a minute, almost the complete lightness disappears from the room. And that's not a great feeling when you've got a buyer standing in a room with you, and then the light just drops like a stone, and you think to yourself, "Oh no!" And so it is preparation, isn't it, as well, from us when we go in the door and we actually make sure all the curtains are right back, all the blinds are right up, and there's a team of natural light coming in. But again, that comes down to then what we talked about yesterday about summer viewings on our show yesterday, about the very fact that make sure your windows are clean. Make sure if you've got any burst double glazing, you know, in the burst panes, make sure you've probably got them replaced. Especially if it's a great view out the back garden or out to the sea or out to the harbour, anywhere. If it's got a fantastic view over the countryside, you want to make sure your windows are the prime thing, because I mean that's literally your perpetually moving picture. It's what, you know, that's why they call them picture windows sometimes.
And lastly, on that theme, photographers sometimes prefer to shoot with the natural light, but in some areas they will like a light on, so make sure that all the ceiling lights and lamps have working bulbs with a soft tone.
It's a big thing for me. It's a huge thing for me. See, when you walk into a house and 3 bulbs out of 5 are working and the other 2 are out, and it's not as if the other 2 are together, so you think, oh, maybe it's a different light switch. The other 2 are like opposite ends of the spectrum on the light shade, and you kind of think to yourself, there's no, you know, it just doesn't feel right then. I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't feel right. It's the classic example. I keep saying, it's like when you go to see a used car, I was always told for one fault, you'll see 3 others. You'll not see 3 others or something like that. And that's kind of how I think about the house as well. Is there any other things like botched jobs that I don't know about that, you know, maybe it'll uncover later on at a later date? That's kind of how it resonates, and that's what I put on to when I go around to advise a client of what they should be doing, how they should be doing it. All these simple things that actually put in that mindset into the buyer that this property is a good property and it's ready to go. It just, I mean, even 2 light bulbs out or even 1 light bulb out, actually, property's not ready to go. Just like that. So our room borrowing guide is on here, okay? But we're going to talk about it anyway. We're going to give our advice on it as well. So you can read it through for on your own leisure on the link. You can listen to the podcast later on if you like as well. That's going to be on there, and you can watch this show again if you're watching this on catch up. I mean, what about reception rooms? How important is reception rooms, Andrea? You know, where should we start with this? Let's have a wee look at some reception rooms here. I mean, that has got to be it. That's a cracking reception room, isn't it? That's brilliantly presented. Now, it's a bit sterile, to be honest, but look, the curtains are hauled back from the windows. You've got all the windows are nice and clean. Shelving's all done, that's fine. But normally in a day-to-day, you'll have books on the shelves and everything like that. That's fine. It doesn't need to be like that. Remember, this is an ideal world of a show home and how you would show it. So, you know, you get close to that, that's fine. And then you've got another reception room. So look at all the windows, you know, all the natural light. Yeah. Photography is key here. So what they've done is they've taken 2 photographs. So they've taken one with the brightness of the room up, and that then whites out the windows. And then they've taken one with the brightness of the room down at the exact same position, and that then brings up the windows with a white balance. And then what they've done is they've knitted the windows into the original bright one. So they don't need to tinker about with the actual brightness and contrast later on. They've actually been able to take 2 photographs, knit them together, and come up with this perfect wow photograph. Perfectly positioned, gives you straight away the idea in here that you could actually sit here. Television's clearly the point in the focal room, or the focal point of the room. You could have a log burner in here. To be honest, a log burner, that would be a better focal point for me personally. What about you, Andrea?
The thing that attracts me mainly about that particular room is the tray ceiling, the feature ceiling, and that picture's captured it perfectly. And I always think that it's a sign of a quality builder designer that's done that.
That goes back to the Georgian ceiling sort of thing, yeah. But actually, this is a wee trick by the builders, because they need to get the lighting in, so they have to bring the ceiling down a wee bit to get the lights in, because often that's right against the ceiling itself. So you know, sometimes that's why they'll put that in there. So that tends to be reception rooms. I mean, living rooms are not not only the epicenter of life. They're often capture the essence of the home through their character and their actual design. Buyers regularly use photographs of living rooms to narrow down their viewing list. So the image you present plays a pivotal role in the amount of interest you actually get. Before you do anything else, okay, stand in the doorway of your room, look towards the window, because that's what everybody looks at. Is anything blocking the view or hiding any features in the room? Can you move something? Then run through the following list. So what type of things should we run through, Andrea?
Well, if you've got a fireplace, you want to highlight it by clearing the sight line so it can be seen. I mean, it's a focal point of the room, and you can accessorize it. You can use it up with plants and fireside utensils. You know, your poker,
log
your
baskets
little
and stuff like
brush.
that as
well,
well.
A log basket. Yeah.
Typical coal scuttle line at the side.
Yeah, even although you're maybe not going to use it, it's there. It's a furnishing.
A lot of people, you get these actually quite cheap off eBay and stuff like that. Maybe reclaimed Facebook as well. You know, Facebook Marketplace. These sort of things, you can get all these wee knickknacks that would provide that wee ambience. To be honest, if you're not going to take them to your next house, you could leave them for the other person.
I think that's what we did when we moved. When we left log burners, we just left what was needed for it as part of the sale.
What else would you be doing?
Clear coffee tables, get the remote controls put away and clear away your paperwork. Replace with a well-placed book or magazine, stylish interiors, paired with a statement, piece of glassware or ceramic. It's not everybody's cup of tea to have something like that on their coffee table, especially if you've got kids and Labradors with waggy tails and things, you know, that knock them off all the time. But it's worth having something just to place there for getting your photographs done. I would also say it's quite important that once your photographs are done, that you try and keep things looking like that while you get your viewings, and hopefully you won't have to hang around too long like that, and you'll get a nice quick sale, and then you can put all the nice stuff away again.
Some of the times as well, when you're looking at the line of sight, when you're standing there, sometimes taking a coffee table away could actually make the room look a lot bigger.
Yeah,
because some coffee tables are really practical, but sometimes overpowering. And it's the same with rugs as well. Some rugs can be, I mean, if you've got a beautiful wood floor, why would you cover it up with a rug? I mean, you know, to keep your feet cozy, maybe on a colder day, and keep them away from the actual floor itself, and that's fine. But sometimes the rugs are so overpowering, it's better to actually roll them up and take them away and put them in the corner in the cupboard just now, and get the photograph taken without the rug. Maybe put the rug back down later on if it suits you, But practically, if it works better without the rug, then I would probably be without the rug, because it makes the room look a lot bigger, and then the buyer can actually see where they can position their furniture.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think it's really good to keep a clear path to the window.
Yeah.
Because that's what people want to do. They don't want to have to be walking around furniture to get to see that wonderful view.
Are you an accessorised person? Stylish throws, cushions?
Yeah, I can be when I'm selling a house.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we were selling, we bought specific things to dress the house.
Yeah.
And we don't really use them anymore. They're away in boxes. But I'm sure they'll come in handy when
in
we need
America,
them again.
what they do in America, and possibly what they do in Australia, is they actually take all their furniture, put it in storage, and they get a whole set of new furniture to style the house delivered to their house on rental, and that's what they do. That's what they do in America, and it's like that. I mean, to be honest, the prices in America are a lot more. Plus the fact that they've been conditioned like that. We tend to think a lot less in terms of what we do, but America, people tend to probably move a lot longer in time, especially the continent as well. Generations of families will often stay in the same house. So when they do sell the house, it becomes a different, it's a different investment to do that. Whereas we naturally look at houses, we almost look at houses as investments. It's all right if it's investment outside of your normal day-to-day house, but your normal day-to-day house is only an investment in your future for you and your family. That's ultimately it. And it allows you then to upgrade to another house because it's proportionally the same value when you go to buy and sell again. That's probably the benefit of owning your own home. But then you lose the flexibility, don't you? You lose the flexibility if you need to move anywhere, if you need it for employment, for training, for careers, for anything, if you decide to move. Classic example about that today, we're a nation of homeowners, but this is a question to ask yourself. If you were the house that you're renting now, if you had the option and you were renting that house, would you have moved by now? And that'll tell you if we're a nation of renters or a nation of homeowners. At the heart of it, because we're conditioned all the time to own our own home for that very reason about the downsell and upsell. But to be honest, it's probably just conditioned by the banks because they just want to give you a loan for the mortgage.
Yeah, I think, especially people are on fixed term mortgages, and I know we're going slightly off track here. If they're on a fixed term mortgage, the penalties can sometimes be a reason to not sell when you maybe do really need to, and they hang off for another year until they've got to the end of the fixed term mortgage.
However, you can port a fixed term mortgage to your next home without any penalties at all.
All right.
Yeah, so I've done it. So I was with the Nationwide previously, and I was with the Nationwide next door to where I am now, and I basically had the same mortgage, and I said to them, any chance I could just port it, and actually no penalties, because I was in a fixed rate deal for 5 years, and they went, yeah, that's fine, as long as you keep the mortgage the same. And then often as well, what you can do is you can just get a further advance on top of that, so you don't break the existing mortgage and the penalties, but you get a further advance, and that allows you then to top up the mortgage with another mortgage product. So it's another thing I've done on one of my other properties as well, to be able to refurbish it. And it's actually what I just advised a buy-to-let landlord the other now, when they said, I've got no money to do the electrics and it's going to cost me $5,000. And I'm thinking, well, your house has actually doubled in value. Why do you not just get a further advance and then reinvest that money back in to do the electrics? And guess what? It'll increase the value by the $5,000. So you've no lost. All you're doing is financing it, and you're getting it through the bank. You're getting a fixed rate deal at like 2.5%, possibly because it's in her name, for maybe 4 or 5 years. So that makes absolute sense. Interest only. Anyway, we're off the track. Good morning, Paul. How are you? Thank you very much for saying great information. If you've got any questions, please feel free to ask. Stack shelves neatly. Books grouped at similar heights. Now, for 75% of the people out there, I know this, there's 4 groups here. Okay, there's 4 groups that are different ways that we think, and we're differentiated into 4 groups. For 75% of the audience out there, when I say stack shelves neatly, books grouped in similar heights, look great through the lens, okay, 75% of the audience go, who cares? The 25% actually goes, absolutely right. and you're one of that 25%, Andrea, aren't you?
Oh, you don't want to see my bookshelves. But I think I'll probably try and make them look neat and not overly stacked. If there's a surplus of books there and they're kind of lying on their side and stocked on top of one another, I would maybe move them just into a box. Declutter as much as you can, really, before, and just keep token items there. The dining table photographs best when they're not pushed up against the wall. I hate when people do that. It was a bugbear of mine. Keep the top mostly clear, but with a centerpiece or two, one or two items. Think of candlesticks, fresh cut flowers, eucalyptus stems, and maybe a bowl of seasonal fruit. Take the similar approach to the sideboard and keep that. Do people still have sideboards free of clutter, but with a couple of well-chosen accessories?
Absolutely. Now, I was interested in when you said it's a bugbear of yours about, you know, dining tables being up, and that's exactly what I meant about the 75%. 75% is no bother, 25% will, but your buyer might actually be in the 25%. So you want to make sure out there, if you're listening in and you're watching, you want to make sure that you could avoid that if possible, because your buyer might come from that 25% of that group. It actually thinks that's a big buyer. And what happens is it takes their attention off your home for that split second. And that could be the split second that they decide it's like, it's maybe not for them. And it sounds so petty. But if you compound that with all the small things that you're doing all the way through, that person at the end might actually be completely put off your house. This is why we talk about this so much and how important it is to get this exactly right for yourself. So it actually appeals to the widest audience as possible.
Well, the reason it bugs me, and it's the same with beds, double beds pushed up into a corner, they're just trying to tell you there isn't actually enough space in the house to have.
And yet, for most people, there is. I've seen it before, where it's been pushed right up because they just want out of the way because they don't use it anymore. They maybe only use four sides, so the top and the bottom and one side and the other side's pushed against the wall. So when the photograph's taken, there's a huge space at the other side. So I often actually move the dining table back into the middle and position the chairs around so it looks proper. The photograph's taken, then we can push it back to the wall. That's fine, but it looks right and it has its natural place and it defines the room. That's the most important thing. That's the whole point. So take a similar approach to the sideboards as well, free of clutter, but with a couple of well-chosen accessories in there. I'm away to sign up one in St Andrews right now, and sideboard was there. All the thing exactly that's what I told them there right now. It's just declutter it just a wee bit. That's all it is. They thought they had to empty the whole house, and I'm like, no, it's perfectly laid out the way it is. And they're saying, but that sofa's like 40, 50 years old, and it's like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's actually, if anything, it's a bit Laura Ashley in terms of how the design is, and it would actually look quite good in a photograph and just appeal to that market that would actually think about living in St Andrews from further afield. It's catching the person, again, as I say, it's cash rich but they're time poor. It's actually getting in front of them, disrupting them. That's the point.
And what about pictures? You know, you maybe see people with pictures of their children on the wall, beautiful portraits, you know, professional.
You'll never see them. Genuinely, nobody will ever really see them. And you know, a good photographer can actually, you know, blur out that picture. But the last thing you want is to take a picture down and then you have this big mark in your and that's another one for people that have been living in a house for quite a long time. They don't realize it. I know they don't smoke, they probably don't have a fire, but what happens is they maybe burn candles and the smoke actually attracts to the outsides of theirs and over a period of time and up the radiators as well. That's a classic. With the candles, you know, the smoke goes up there as well, and it just collects, but you don't see it because it's small degrees over time. It's actually adding to that, like anything. And so I say to people, leave the photograph on if it's going to leave a mark, but other than that, take it off and put one in its place, a picture in its place. But make sure it's still in keeping. You know, you don't want a traditional style room. It's maybe an older generation, and you don't want an Art Deco, you know, by, you know, Picasso sitting on the wall, some print, and it's like, you know, like that sort of thing. That was a good image, I almost thought that was a Picasso. What about kitchens then? Kitchens, what's your thoughts on kitchens?
Well, I must admit, when I saw the photograph in the brochure for the house that we bought, it was a kitchen that did it for me, a big open plan kitchen diner. And I thought, I've got to have that kitchen. And it is just like that opening sentence. I've got to have it. That's mine. Same with the garden, but the kitchen was the main thing. So the kitchen photography is all about food preparation and practicality.
Yeah.
And to get the perfect look, copy the work of show home stylists with an organised space where buyers can see themselves making morning coffee or cooking up a storm. Work surfaces, they really need to be kept clear. Again, it's decluttering the kitchen. Only have the things in there that really need to be there. Someone has to be able to visualize themselves in that kitchen and using it. Hide the washing up liquid or put it in a nice dispenser.
I tell everybody, just stick it in the cupboard. Stick everything in the cupboards.
In the cupboard,
Nobody's going to be looking in the cupboards for the photographs. Nobody's going to be looking in the cupboards when they're going around the property. It's no practical to do that for a lot of people. I'm not going to be videoing in cupboards anyway, so just shoehorn everything in the cupboards right now. And I just go, there's a cupboard there, there's a cupboard there when I'm going through in a video walkthrough. And that's all I'm doing. Unless your cupboard opens up to Buckingham Palace, that's the only reason I'm ever going to go in there and go, wow, look at this cupboard. And that, believe it or not, that's happened a couple of times where I've actually gone, wow, look at this cupboard. And it's a big, huge walk-in pantry, almost like another room completely, but it's just a pantry because there's really no window in it. And so it's just a walk-in cupboard. Let's look at a quick photograph. See, there's a cracking, that's a cracking kitchen. Now, you see the marble worktop there, but generally, if you want to replace that worktop, you can actually replace it with Trespa. So Trespa is a really good worktop as well, and that actually has imitation marble. So it's not, you don't pay through the nose for that type of thing, and you can do Trespa splashbacks as well. You can often get this. This is the type of stuff that you use in laboratories, Trespa. So if acid falls in it, it just never gets damaged. It never stains. It never does anything. So Trespa is a specific make, and you do get similar different types of Trespa-like worktop, but it is a lot less. But that just tells you straight away quality, doesn't it? Just with that, with that splashback and just with that worktop.
Yeah, then, that's a lovely kitchen, nice and clean looking.
Space, breakfast bar, eye level oven. Somebody does a lot of cooking because there's books up there on the shelf, and then easy access to your hob right in the middle and all your workspace round about it. And just to add a wee bit of flavour, you've got some fruit in the middle. And that's kind of, I know for me that's it's a tight one, but that actually shows quite a lot of information just in that small group in that photograph, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. I was just looking at the number of sockets there for kitchen equipment.
Exactly. Well, you've got the toaster there. Notice how they've taken the plug out of the toaster.
Yeah.
Just these simple wee things, plug out the toaster, so the toaster's at the side, so it gives you that message. They've put the butter on the side as well, just so it's preparation. And then you've got that there, and then you've got washing up liquid, you've got your hand soap and everything like that as well. So it sends a nice message, definitely. So as you said, washing up liquid, decant style, remove tea towels, oven gloves.
Yeah.
Do not hang towels, kitchen towels, like dish towels and oven gloves on your oven. Your oven is your oven. You don't want to you don't want that on there, so don't hang them anywhere. Actually put them away somewhere. It covers up one of the best features. You've paid a lot. Some people pay a lot of money for their ovens, like Melee or AEG. They're good quality ovens, steam ovens and stuff like that. And then you put this towel on it. So take them off as well. Remember what I said about all the wee things that add up and start to compound, and you get to the end and the person goes, no, that's maybe not for me. And if that was not done, that might actually not caught in their mind. So
I do remember seeing a photograph taken. I can't remember. It was quite a while ago, but somebody had no room in their cupboards to put all their rubbish, so they actually shoved everything into the oven, forgetting it had a glass front on it. So when the photographs were taken, you could actually see all the rubbish in the oven.
But a good photographer would actually would have edited that out, wouldn't it? They would have airbrushed that and put the glass front back on. So remove tea towels, oven gloves, dishcloths, sponges, and the bin as well at the side. So if it's at the side, you've got your wee brown bin. Take off drainers. Unless your drainer is a world-class drainer designed in Art Deco, then get drainers off work surfaces and get your old rickety plastic bowl out of your sink and actually just put it under. Don't leave anything in the sink either. So, you know, remember, this is a one-off. This isn't I mean, technically, this isn't for viewing. This is actually for photographs. If you want the best start, that's where somebody's going to look for photographs and video. They're going to look at that straight away. They're going to look at all these things, and it's not so don't give them any reason to have a distraction. Put away branded food products. Believe it or not, some people might go, oh, I didn't like M&Ms, or I don't like Oreos, or I don't, you know, it's like all these different, like, oh my God, another thing to distract someone. So including tea bags and herbs, unless it's a really upmarket and you're an upmarket property and this branded product suits with that upmarket property, that's why you would do it. That's why you would leave it there. So it has to be really good quality. You could also keep out a few stylish containers in glass or ceramic or metal. You know, you get soap dispensers like that as well. Stow all crockery, cutlery and cookware where it actually belongs. I mean, sometimes nice having the hanging pots and pans, and depending on what you're doing and how this kitchen feels and the whole design and feel of it as well. For a final dash of pizzazz, lay a gourmet cookbook next to some colourful seasonal vegetables, tomatoes and peppers in the summer, squashes and pumpkins for the winter, turnips for us probably, but nobody wants to see a turnip.
Turnips and carrots.
It still haunts me about, you know, burnt turnips at Halloween. And candles, that smell,
and cut hands trying to get the insides out of them.
Oh, cool. That was some effort. But we'll be doing a show in autumn soon at this rate. We've only just done a show yesterday on summer. Boutique bedrooms. What's your thoughts, Andrea? Boutique bedrooms.
Well, other than having double beds shoved up into the corners, which must be really awkward for two people getting into. But anyway, yep. When photographing the bedrooms, magic lies in presenting an unruffled haven with a softly contrasting mix of textiles. So the bed obviously is the main event. So dress it in freshly ironed style, plump and stack the pillows. Two rows look best, and fold down the duvet in front of them. Don't just pull the duvet up and have it half over the pillows. That just looks rubbish. And place a throw in a complementary colour across the bottom third of the bed. As well as serving an instant hotel chic, this simple layering technique brings up the expansive duvet, which can overpower a photo. Yeah, because when you think a whole big block of maybe a single colour in a room is maybe just too much for the photograph, so breaking it up's a really good idea. I would go
saying, if your duvet's falling apart and it's pretty flat, just go and buy one at Argos or something like that. Just go and buy one for 10 quid, just to give it that rise again, so people see, you know, that in the pictures. And if your bedspread's not the greatest, if it's all faded and, you know, it's past its days, it's maybe great to you, maybe make you feel homely. Just buy another bedspread and stick it on for the benefit. You can take it to your next house. Great thing is you've got all this new stuff for your next house. So it's a great opportunity to give yourself an excuse to buy all the new stuff for your next house. So buy it now and use it in your existing house to stage it, and you take it with you for your next house. That's exactly what you should do. Get rid of all your old furniture. If you're going to be using your next house with your new furniture, then buy it all now for this house if it suits the next house. And if it suits this house, it stages it properly. So you've done two jobs at once, basically. Bare bedside tables, you know, can look a little forgotten, would I say? Yeah. I mean, one of the suggestions is that you make a group of three. Three seems to be the magic number of the following: a book, a lamp, a small picture frame, a vase, a cute alarm clock, or a candle. You know, on my bedside table, I have two mobile phones. I have the charger, I've got the lamp, I've got the book, I've got a drink. You know, it's right.
And very easy to...
my recommendation is put your toys away. Children's toys, that is.
I didn't mention that.
Remove the laundry basket and hide anything it's hanging on doors. It doesn't look great. If anything, if you're struggling for storage space and where to put stuff in the photographs and for the videos, always put them in the place where the videos and photographs won't go. And it's technically, it's on the back wall and it's near to the door itself. And purely for the fact that it's a dead space. I mean, who wants to see a picture of a door? And that's it. So if you put that at the back of there, when you're coming in a video, everybody wants to see towards the window and actually see that wow shot and everything all nice and laid out ergonomically, and they could see themselves living in there. So that's probably another top tip as well. And make sure it's like what you said, anything stored under the bed isn't visible. If you've got a bedspread that actually covers it, fantastic. If you're struggling, push it in a bit for the photograph, and you can pull it back out just so it's out the way. Or possibly ask your expert photographer to airbrush it out. Nothing wrong with doing that, because that is not changing the dynamics of the property. It's actually only changing, what was under the bed. That's it. So it's not a fixture. You can't airbrush fixtures out, by the way. That's a misdescription. But you can certainly airbrush bits and pieces that you've got that you just can't get rid of, because obviously you've just got too much stuff. That's another story. There's great vlogs on here for content in here for decluttering. So if you want a copy of our decluttering blog, go on our YouTube channel. It will be in there. We've got over 170 useful guides and helpful guides as well to guide you through any process from start to finish. We've been doing loads of these shows. We've been doing these shows for about 3 years now, every single weekend and during the week as well sometimes. So that gives you a lot of great content, especially the one on decluttering. Also, there's a great one there, how to be viewing ready within 2 hours every single time, and actually not take too much time to do it and get yourself sorted out. Okay, make sure you clear the tops of dressing tables and chest of drawers of all excess products. Leave out only the best looking bottles. This is what we talked about. Kind of similar to the format of the kitchen, isn't it? Just leave out the stuff that's completely irrelevant. And with a few minutes spent on these tiny little touches, can show buyers a cozy, calm, and collected place to hibernate at home and escape the world. That's what a bedroom should be, really. Just a place of relaxation. You shouldn't walk into a bedroom and think, wow, I've got a lot of crap lying about. That's just not what a bedroom's for. It's to relax. It's to give you time out. It's to recharge your batteries. Probably one of the most important things you should do every single day. Get the right sleep. Anyway, that's another show we did. Anxiety and depression. That's another show on our channel. Bathrooms. What would you do with bathrooms?
Right, so for the shimmering bathroom photography, think sparkling spa-like sanctuary with gleaming taps and a few well-chosen accessories for thoughtful touches of luxury. So the towels and your shower curtains don't always photograph well. Take a quick snap on your own phone to see how yours look. Removing them could give your beautiful fittings and tiles a better chance to shine.
Yeah.
Hiding things, get rid of the toothpaste, the toothbrushes. Nobody needs to see them. We know what happens in a bathroom. So everyday products, just get them away into a cupboard. Swap your cheap hand soap for something maybe a little bit more upmarket. And get away the bin again and the bath mat. And don't leave bath mats hanging over the side of the bath. And just take out anything that's making it look cluttered, like freestanding trolleys and things.
Yeah.
Toilet paper. Make sure that there's something on the holder, and put a fresh roll on the holder, and then take all the other ones, put them all the way out of the way.
I've often seen myself actually fold it over to the wee pointing shape.
Yeah, just like they do in the hotels.
And actually take the toilet roll and actually turn it so it folds from the top. And then just fold over so it's that way, just like the hotels do. Just to have that different, because it's that wee distinct impression that you get from that. So that's quite.
Do you roll your towels up to make them look like polar bears?
No, I don't go that far. But Lane's got some sort of folding technique that she learned from, I think, Carol Smiley, when she was doing all that stuff about how you should fold towels and how they should be and how they plump up and all the rest of it. It's like it's a wee bit too far for me. But if you've got old worn out towels and you've got old worn out, like seat covers, for your loo. And right, people still have them, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And the bits that go around the bottom, the wee carpets, and then the bath mats and stuff like that. If they've seen better days, probably just get rid of them for the exercise. It's the most important thing, or maybe just replace some of the things that are not great. I know you love your towels, you've used them all the time, but again, it's an opportunity just to buy new towels, take them to your next place. That's probably the classic thing to do. Anything else, Andrea?
Dress a naked bath. I think they mean sort of like an empty, uninteresting bath there, with a teak or a bamboo shelf styled with a natural body brush and an amber medicine bottle.
And it's funny years and years ago, we were like, that's 1970s stuff, and now it's all back in.
It is. Yeah, they do little special shelves that go over the bath, and they've got the little cutout bit for your glass of Prosecco, and a little bit for the candle to sit in, and a little bit for your mobile phone to sit in.
Classic. I've got to admit, I actually do watch my phone in the morning on YouTube. I actually watch a lot of training videos and success stories and stuff like that. Diary of a CEO with Steve Bartlett, classic example. So I take all these wee minute opportunities to actually learn at every inefficient time that I can, and especially that's one of them. I even put a television in the bathroom so I could get that, so I could learn stuff on there as well at the same time, because it's just productive use of my time. So more than making it scrub up well, these simple steps will actually, and tips will give your bathroom that irresistible radiance and healthy zen. Make sure things like your it's the seals on the baths and the tile grout, the tile grout and stuff like that are all clean. It just makes that fundamental effort. Recently, yourself, I went to Creo and they went, we're getting a new bathroom suite or a new shower, ensuite shower. It's going to cost us £7,000. And I went, no way. I says, all you need to do is clean up the tiles and the grout and clean up that and that's it. Literally just a few £100 to get somebody in to do all this. They got someone in, we sold their house at a record price, job done, saved £7,000 with my advice. Just like that. And that's why it's so important to get out on a estate agent and knows how your property should be staged and knows the things that you should be doing and you shouldn't be doing in order to maximize that value from the investment that you've got. After all, it's your biggest tax-free asset you've got, you invest in all the time. Why would you not get an expert in to tell you how to do that? Sean actually makes a really good point. Always look at the doors as well. Sean makes them, but always look at the doors. Yeah, absolutely. You know why? Because you always get some of the doors that have actually got constant finger marks and you don't notice it. It's just over time they built up. So you know how you get that grubbiness around the door and stuff like that. Just to clean all that up, it might need a fresh lick of paint. You might have a timber door, a proper solid, mahogany door or something like that, and you might think to yourself, I'll tell you what, just a new coating on that one or a new oil on that will make that door pop as a result. And it's just a simple investment like that. But it sends out that message to people that you've actually taken time and effort to look after your home. And that's what sells it to them every single time. Let's have a wee look, actually, a bedroom and a bathroom, because I had a wee couple of photographs for bedrooms and bathrooms just to let you see. I mean, that's a real nice bedroom, isn't it? All nicely laid out, his and her mirrors, more than likely, and you've got the table in front. You've got this picture window you can see outside as well, and then you've got the table lamps at the side. I mean, it's a lot of effort and a lot of expense put into this room. Nothing under the bed. Incidentally, the first thing I've noticed here is you've got that looks like speakers in the ceiling.
It does.
Music. And probably at the other side of that, and this is where video comes in quite well, but the other side of that, you'll probably have built-in wardrobes wall to wall, more than likely. I think that's what it'll be. So you can see them here, there, right there, that mirror on the right-hand side. You see that the mirror wardrobe there. So that on the other side, you've got the mirror wardrobe. So I would maybe be tempted to actually position these so you could actually see the mirror wardrobe through that window, through that mirror itself at the other side. That's often a wee photographer trick as well, to take the photograph of the mirror wardrobe with the bed, so you actually, it makes the room look far bigger and inviting for that reason. And then bathroom, Art Deco bathroom. I mean, to me, the Metro style tiles are nice. The The clawfoot bath is nice. What do you like about that, Andrea?
I like the fact that it's clean and I didn't have to do it.
I noticed the Bakelite handle. Look in the bottom. The bottom.
Yeah, it's
obviously
in the sash and case window. I mean, it's obviously a period property.
Yeah, traditional.
It's been done,
stripped, and they've kept it in. They've kept it in keeping. That's maybe probably a new bath in there. It's maybe a reclaimed bath which has been refurbished, including the sink as well. But I tell you what, it just looks really nice. And then they've got the copper up the top for the and then the overhead shower as well, thermostatic shower off the mains. So a really beautiful shower room itself. Okay, let's talk about outside spaces. Wow. Now, outside spaces this is where we talked about yesterday in our summer show. The outside spaces are the new additional rooms, especially after lockdown has taught us that. We've actually started to appreciate our gardens. You know, if you're watching out there, what do you appreciate most about your garden? What does it do for you? Is it become more important to you now because of lockdown than before lockdown? I'll be interested to hear people's comments on that. But nicely staged, isn't that? It just gives
beautiful,
you that
garden.
What does it tell you straight away by the way that's staged?
Just it looks very tranquil and peaceful and warm. You know, but then it could probably still look equally as nice on a dreich day. You know, when it's raining, it's still, you know, it's ready there and it's just ready to go. You don't have to do anything else to it. Yeah.
Relaxing, sitting in the sun. It looks pretty low maintenance because you see that decking there as well. You've got the grass out the back, and then you've got a bit of privacy with the trees round about you as well. But they're not encumbering to take the sun away because the sun's actually beating on it as well. So the importance of actually getting the photographs taken at the right time of day is just as important as the garden itself. It's the right time of day to actually take the photographs. I think that's what it tells me. What could we, you know, what about, you know, the front, back, and outside gardens, Andrea? What's your thoughts on them?
Right. Well, I mean, obviously you want to prepare your garden as much as you're going to prepare the inside of your house for your photographer coming. So I would say, other than like making sure that the path's clear, paint your front door, bring it to life, put a nice new hanging basket out there, get the rubbish bins out of the way. You know, they're on wheels for a reason, so just move them out of the way temporarily for the photographs getting done. If the hedges are needing trimmed, do it for the photographs. It's unlikely you're going to have to cut them again before your house is sold. Get any tools and toys and get rid of broken things out of the garden. If it's not working, get rid of it. And cut your grass, remove the weeds, and, you know, get your patio looking nice and clean. You maybe need to jet wash it, you know, to do that. And the decking, you know, get a coat of oil on it, or if you're...
A lot of people are using composite decking now.
Yes, yeah. It's quite good. I mean, obviously it's going to last much, much longer, and it's maintenance free. Really, you just need to give it a wash down.
Yeah.
So your garden, it's another room of your house, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, jazz up an empty table with the juice and with a jug of fruit laced ice water and maybe a few glasses. For an instant blast of colour, a couple of pre-planted pots around the area with the garden centre. You can take them with you, can't you?
Yeah. I would say that potted plants are much easier to certainly organise and take to a new property.
Yeah.
You know, some people are avid gardeners and will have beautiful gardens anyway and not much to do to them. But for people that don't really have much of an interest in a garden but do have an outside space, buying in a couple of nice potted plants and baskets, and, you know, maybe, again, you get the little trees in pots as well.
You can take all these things with you because it's garden furniture. It's all freestanding, so you can just move all it with you. So it's perfect for that. Say a couple of good ones. Good morning, Richard. Any questions, please feel free to ask. Paul says beautiful, and he also says outside living, even in Scotland. Absolutely. Paul, this is quite an interesting one for you. Actually, I went to Weber to do a barbecue course with him. And Weber actually said Scotland is one of the best nations in the world to have barbecues outside. And I was really surprised. And he said, do you know the best season for a barbecue? Winter. I got in actual autumn. as well. Weber said the best season in Scotland for barbecues is winter and autumn, and the reason for that is because it's got a natural flow of moisture in the air. So when you close the lid, the moisture comes up underneath and stops the food drying out as a result. And that's why Weber said Scotland's got one of the best climates in the world for actually barbecues outdoors. But I was really surprised when they actually said winter is the best time to have a barbecue, because of that reason, because the moisture in the air. So outside living in Scotland, absolutely. And when it rains, it is probably the best time to have a barbecue. So there's everybody's excuse now to have a barbecue when it's raining.
Just get a little gazebo up.
Forget what the media says about it's summertime, get your barbecue out, just have a barbecue any time of the year. You can even stick your barbecue, you stick your barbecue outside, you close it down and you go and sit in your conservatory and you just go out and get your stuff when it's ready and it's all prepared and cooked for you. Another wee top tip, apparently, that says get a can of beer, believe it or not, get a can of beer, put it underneath, put your chicken inside, and you get that flavour from there in there, actually to hold it up. It's amazing the amount of things that actually did that. So if you get a chance, go into Weber Barbecues page, and it gives you a lot of top tips for how to cook the best with their barbecues, or with any barbecue, to be honest. I do think Weber's a lot better quality, and they really put a lot of attention to detail in there as well. Anyway, okay, let's just recap. The outside's never been more in for your back doors and outdoors and side gardens and stuff like that, as well as external importance of the curb appeal. Outside space again is, as I said, post-pandemic priority among buyers. So get these photos working for you. Unlike the inside of the home, the outside changes with the season. So if you've taken a break from selling or your home has been on the market for quite a while, get your agent to retake the photographs outside to reflect the time of year to keep your marketing fresh. There's nothing more revealing than having snow on your property, on your photographs, and you're in the middle of spring. That tells somebody straight away your house has been sitting on the market for quite a while. And there's nothing more revealing if you're sitting in the middle of summer with photographs and you're now in winter, because again, it shows a different, and you maybe stand out, but you stand out for all the wrong reasons. And then people start to think there's something wrong. So you don't want to give them that impression. And now for the bonus, okay? Before we wrap up, Andrea, to get the best results from styling efforts and photography, keep your home looking like photos for viewing. You'll help buyers feel comfortably familiar while wandering around, and they'll be delighted that everything is just as good, if not better, in person. This is why when people look at video, they often say to us when they walk around with a video, they can't believe it's so close to them actually being in the property and actually viewing it themselves. They can't get any closer. And that's why we use video all the time with every single property, for that very reason. Often you'll get people buying the property without actually even walking in the door because of that. And I don't mean video as in, we put a video on and we put music to it. That's silent movies. What we do is talking pictures. So every single video, we talk people through what it is, where it is, and why it'll appeal to them. Because people from further afield have no idea what your property has to offer, and that can't really tell them in photographs. They can only see it, but to get them to invest time to come and see it is a big thing, especially if these are the people that are cash rich and time poor. The likelihood of them doing that is probably pretty remote. That's why video is so important in terms of what you're doing, in terms of what we're doing in order to do that. And you always record in portrait. And the reason for that is because 80% of your market is on mobiles, and they can't be bothered turning it that way to watch it. And that's why portrait's so important. Even Samsung are developing a vertical television. Think about that. So they know exactly where things are. So Samsung's developing a vertical television for that very reason, because they realize the younger generation will actually want to engage in a vertical format rather than that horizontal format. It's weird, I know, but they see that as the future possibly of viewing capabilities for people, because people just want to sit like that. They don't want to turn. I mean, do that right now. How awkward is that? It is. It's really awkward to sit and watch it like that. So that's why most people will just film like that, and that's why we film like that all the time. We often get photographers coming on to, or videographers saying, maybe you should do that, maybe you should use a gimbal and everything like that. It's just you don't understand the dynamics of how people engage with audiences like us. That's maybe great for all time, you know, I really want professional high quality and I never want it to fade away, but that doesn't work in the moment. People want to see the whole property. Plus the fact, when you're doing that, you can actually view the whole property like that. Whereas if you're doing that, you're having to go up and down, you're having to go right and left, you're having to do all this and all the rest of it. And it's extremely confusing for a viewer watching at the other end. That's why portrait video and talking through the video itself and telling people where everything is the most important thing to engage with your audience. And that's it. That's the best advice we can give. Don't undersell your home with mediocre photography. Please do not do that. If you're looking to get the highest quality, the highest price, and also the perfect photographs, the perfect video production for your property, we've got different stages of video, to be honest, as well. Different retargeting campaigns, different types of drone footage, depending on what we want to achieve for your property. So it's not a one-size-fits-all opportunity. We're quite unique in terms of what we do and how we do it. We see every property differently, and we'll look at the best features of that property and how to make them pop and make them stand out, because that's why people will buy your property. People buy property on emotion. They don't buy it for bricks and mortar. That's the reality. Final words from you, Andrea, to finish off. What's your thoughts?
I think my final thoughts is look at the photographs of the property that you're wanting to buy. If you don't see something there that really takes you, the chances are that's not the property for you. A good photographer will always capture the best of the property. You know, if you're selling your house, you know, don't go for a company that will offer you the agent photographs.
Yeah, it's not a big thing. I mean, that's cheap as chips, isn't it? That's just, I mean, that's a false economy. I'm going to try and keep the cost down because I'm going to take the photographs myself from my mobile phone or my state-of-the-art camera, but I'm not really a professional photographer. My windows will white out as well, so you'll never really see the windows and stuff like that. And that's it. Oh, we've got our guest here. We've got Jimmy. Jimmy's quickly come on from the live show today, Jimmy.
Yeah, live show today.
So what have we got?
Can you hear me?
Where's you going from and to?
Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, yeah.
Live show, so just off Belgarvis Road to the right-hand side. That's where you come in. You better come down early because, well, it's half it now and the queue's getting quite full there already. But you can see by the parking how many people there is here. We'll try in now. I'll just flip around here. We're in the queue now to get in. You can see the equine show just up the top there, and then you have over the other side, you have sort of bouncy castles, etc. for the kids as well. So there's also a load of stalls here. I believe there's over 150 stalls here as well. So if you want goods here as well, there's plenty to do, that's for sure.
Wow, that's absolutely fantastic. Thanks very much for that, Jimmy. We're just wrapping up, and that's us today from the Fife Property Show. See you tomorrow for the update, the weekly update, and we'll see you for the Wealth Creation Show tomorrow on Monday at 12:30 for the Wealth Creation Show. We're going to be talking about compounding wealth. I'm going to tell you how I first started out, what I did to do when I started out, and what I would do now in compounding wealth and property investment from today onwards. Okay, and that's us. Bye-bye from her.
And him.
See, you pointed the wrong way.
No, I didn't. I'm in the right way.
All right, you're a different way. Okay, see you later, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.